Hey, what's up, everybody? Evan Freiberger here, and today we're going to be talking about the severe weather that's coming for the United States. Got a couple days, long stretches of severe weather that is coming to the United States. We got all the latest you need to know there, and also we're going to be talking about the winter storm that's going to be coming into this country and potentially dropping a significant amount of snow for some folks in Texas and maybe up there in the Northeast. So we're going to talk about those possibilities. But before we get started, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button if you do end up enjoying this video, and let's get right into it. All right, zoomed out here in the United States, you can see we do have some snow and stuff ongoing in the Pacific West here. You can see it over there near Las Vegas, and that's going to start to push into Arizona and New Mexico, drop some extra snow there, also up into Nebraska as well. And that low pressure system starts to move into the United States, and this is going to be eventually what we're going to be talking about in terms of that severe weather. But before that, look over here to the right. We are expecting a wide area of rain here, extending from Houston all the way up into Tennessee, also into Virginia, parts of Kentucky, northern Alabama, and northern Georgia. Not expecting this initial round to be severe, but as we push this forward, you can see that this storm really gets started over here in Texas and Oklahoma, going into around 9 a.m. on the 11th there. You can see quite a heavy pocket of snow there near Amarillo, near Lubbock, about to move into Oklahoma City, and then it does that potentially. It's not guaranteed, but there is a signal there for potential snow at around 6 p.m. starting there on the 11th with that snow there, and that's also when we're going to still be having some severe weather ongoing. And it's really going to start today, going into tomorrow and the next day as well. So really back here, we will be going over the timing a little bit more, just kind of doing a general view of what we're going to be going over in this forecast. And then see that heavier rain, severe weather starts to move off to the east. Going to be some risk there for tornadoes during this time, and then that's going to move up to the north. Look at that snow pushing up into Oklahoma and Missouri, parts of Arkansas, and then it moves into the Ohio Valley, that where it really starts to get started here, potentially for some parts of Indiana, going into Kentucky, Ohio, parts of Philadelphia, or not Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and southern New York there. And that's going to move off to the east, and you can see that snowstorm is still potentially ongoing out here by around 12 p.m. on the 13th, with some heavier snow over there, and then that eventually is going to move out of the country, and then things are going to start to get a little bit drier behind this storm for a little bit. But yeah, we're going to go over all that. So let's go ahead, break down some of the finer details, starting with the severe weather. All right, starting off with the risk for today, you can see that we do have a slight risk out there. That's a 2 out of 5 in severity for severe weather, and that's in the yellow here. That's going to be for San Antonio, or up to Austin, over there to San Angelo. And then we got a marginal risk around that, extending from Midland through Abilene down into Waco, Houston, all the way into Louisiana. And yeah, I mean, we got a little bit of a 2% tornado risk. We've had a couple 2% tornado risks confirmed with tornadoes in the past couple of days, and I don't really see this day being any different today. So, definitely got to watch out there for tornadoes in this widespread region, kind of in the same areas here: Midland, Big Spring, down into San Antonio, Austin, College Station, Houston, extending into Louisiana. We also got a wind risk out there. That's going to be for damaging winds of up to 60 mile per hour. Is going to be possible over here for some folks there. It's kind of the same regions there as the tornado risk. And then looking at the hail risk, this is the most significant risk of today. You can see that we do have a little hashed region there, and that basically just means instead of expecting around 1-inch hail, we're expecting potentially up to 2-inch hail in this area near San Antonio, New Braunfels, Kerrville. San Angelo is now expected to get an inch of hail, so 1-inch hail is possible. Austin, Round Rock there, and then we have 5% around that for 1-inch hail going from Victoria, Houston, Brownwood into Louisiana. Now, going over to day 2, you can see that we have another slight risk out here with a marginal risk around that for parts of Texas, going to Louisiana, southern Arkansas, Mississippi, Alabama, maybe just nosing into Georgia there, and then into Florida as well. And looking at the tornado risk for this day, this a little bit more elevated with this storm. You can see we have a 5% for tornadoes near Lafayette, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Jackson, Meridian, Mobile, and parts of Alabama. Then we have a 2% around that for Montgomery, Tuscaloosa, Monroe, going down into Houston and Beaumont there. Also, we're talking about a damaging wind risk up to 60 mile per hour possible for kind of the same folks that are in that 5%, and then also a 5%, the same folks that are in the 5% for tornadoes are also going to be in that damaging wind risk. And then also around that, we do have a 5% that was in that marginal risk as well. well. Then we got a risk for hail out there, not as big as the day before, but still some hail going to be possible tomorrow as well. There near Beaumont, Lafayette, north of there near Alexandria there. And, that's going to be up to 1 inch hail possible there. And then we got a brown area extending through Meridian, parts of Mississippi, down into southern Louisiana, northern Louisiana, and western Texas. Starting off with today's risk, we're looking at the HRRR here. And yeah, I mean, it's going to start pretty quickly across Texas here. You can see as I push this forward, as we get into like the kind of right after this forecast, we start to see already some heavier rain, maybe some lightning along this initial line here of storms extending all the way up into Louisiana, parts of Arkansas there. And then we have maybe a little bit more of a stronger cluster of storms over there near Fredericksburg and Kerrville. And then, they're not really that strong though until we really start to get into 2 p.m., 3 p.m. in the daylight heating hours. You can see that some of these storms could start to become severe around this time today, near Round Rock, Austin, around there near Temple, south of Waco, near Mexia. And then pushing this forward even further, you can see we have even more storms. So we have a little boundary here setting up that is going to continue to fire storm after storm after storm as this low pressure from the west starts to come into the country. But yeah, I mean, the environment's there. There's plenty of instability and fuel out there, and there's going to be pretty marginal spin until we get into the overnight periods. So that's probably when we're going to see the tornado threat maximize, which is going to be over here in this region. But again, it's still a pretty low chance, a marginal chance for tornadoes out there. But so around 5 p.m., we still have some storms ongoing out there near Fredericksburg, near Round Rock. And then you can see that those storms are really starting to get pretty strong. We start to see some of these black colors here on the future radar. That indicates the potential there for some, stronger updrafts, maybe some larger hail as that moves over there. But over in that region, it still should stay around that quarter size hail. And then pushing this through that first round kind of moves out of the picture, but still is impacting, parts of Alexandria over there near Jasper, College Station. And then pushing this all the way through, still have some storms going over there. But look at this on the HRRR. If this really happens, could have a couple of stronger storms out here. The shear environment isn't the best for tornadoes, but it's pretty good. It's good enough in order to cause a marginal threat for some tornadoes. But these storms right here are going to be bringing that real big hail risk as they move on to the east. And that hail could extend all the way into Killeen, south of Waco. Some damaging winds are also going to be possible with that as we move into the really early morning hours at around 3 a.m. So you're going to have to watch out for those as well. And then as we get to the end of what is technically considered the day one period of this severe risk, you can see these storms are making it just to the south of Tyler, Texas. All right, now we're going to be talking about day two in the timing. That's tomorrow. You can see that we do have these storms over here near Tyler, Texas, but you can see there's a little bit of a disagreement there. NAM is saying 10 a.m. The HRRR is saying 6 a.m. So there's a little bit of a difference there, but generally, we're going to have some thunderstorms in this area between this time frame, and then they're going to move off to the east. And this is when that tornado threat is going to be starting to pick up here. The spin in the atmosphere is going to start to increase. There's still a lot of there's still a lot of shear in this area, enough to support some tornadoes. So definitely got to watch out for that. We'll be monitoring on this channel. We'll go live if we get a tornado warning. Also, maybe some severe potential over there north of Monroe at around 5 p.m. on the 11th there. That's tomorrow. And then pushing this a little bit further, you can see we might have some more storms start to pop up here in Mississippi, south of Jackson by around 12 a.m. And then as we move into the end of this period here, you can see that we still have some storms ongoing by 6 a.m. That'll be the end of the technical day two threat. And you can see that those storms are nearing Mobile, still traveling off to the east. All right, now talking about the snow out there at around 9 a.m. today, a little bit further out from right now. You can see that we do have some snow ongoing over there near Santa Fe and the mountainous regions over there. And then that's try to push into Texas a little bit and parts of Oklahoma. But it's really as we get into the later night portions of today that we really start to see this snow start to enter into northern Texas, into the panhandle of Oklahoma. And then that starts to move kind of down to the south and east. Look at that heavy snow over there near Amarillo, over there near Lubbock, Texas, as well as we move into the morning hours here on the 11th. And then pushing this even further, you can see that snow is just kind of swirling out there. And then it eventually might try to drop some snow there for Oklahoma over there near Tulsa and Fayetteville. But there's still a big question mark here. You can see we do have a lot of rain and snow all in the same area. So, it's going to be a hit or miss type scenario. We're not going to really talk about the totals of that just yet. We'll probably talk about that more tomorrow in the live stream as we get a little bit closer, typically around those 48-hour periods. That's when we really start to get an understanding of what to or how much snow is going to fall. And we're around 60 hours away from the Missouri and Arkansas getting impacted by the snow. So we're going to wait a little bit longer before we start talking about these totals too much, but we are going to get an initial look here as we go over to the Forecast National database here and look at the snow totals, at least initially over the next 48 hours or so. You could potentially see, some pockets here of 4 to 5 inches potentially there south of Amarillo. Some snow over here in the panhandle of Texas, kind of going into extreme western Oklahoma, 5 to 6 inches there. Moving up into Colorado near Lamar, Colorado Springs, 5 to 6 inches there. And then look at over here in Nebraska, potentially 4 to 5, maybe some pockets of 8 inches over here by Alliance and Scott Bluff. And then moving down, further into Texas, Memphis, Childress could potentially get into those 3 to 5 inches. Vernon, 4 to 5. Altus, 4 to 5. Elk City, 3 to 4. Clinton, 3 to 4 inches. And over here near Oklahoma City, potentially 1.5 to 2 inches possible there. When we could see that uptrend or downtrend as we get closer, depending on where that rain snow line actually ends up happening. And then we're starting to get the initial views here on just how much snow could fall over here in Missouri and Arkansas. It could go up a little bit given that we're just a little bit out of the range, but definitely some potential there for some snowflakes. We're probably not talking about too much snow accumulation, but maybe a couple inches could be possible there. All right, another thing that I want to talk about here is that we do also have a slight risk for severe weather. This is going to be technically day 3 by the time this forecast comes out, but yeah, I mean, we do have a slight risk for severe weather in this region here. It is definitely possible, but and maybe a small window here for maybe a little bit more significant weather. And let's talk about that really quick. That's going to be for parts of Alabama, northern Florida, going into Georgia and South Carolina. A marginal risk will be issued around these regions here that I'm encircling with my pointer here. But yeah, if we go over to the kinematics here, you can see there is going to be some fuel for these storms. Both models agree that there is some there, but maybe a little bit under that criteria there of the 1,000 joules per kilogram, but still a decent amount, at least on the GFS, showing upwards to enough fuel for severe thunderstorms and tornadoes there. So definitely got to keep an eye on that. Looking at the upper levels, man, there's going to be some fast moving winds in the upper levels of the atmosphere. In the lower levels too, potentially some fast moving winds there as well. So definitely going to be spinning the atmosphere if these storms can get established. Could potentially see the potential for the tornado risk in this area increase if the models continue to say these kind of things. Next thing we're going to be talking about is the snow in the Ohio Valley and the Northeast, the possibilities there. This is the GFS ensemble. We're still pretty far out, so I'm not going to look at just one model. We're going to use this blend of models here, which is essentially, it takes 50 models, which is kind of what I've been showing you guys, but all of those have just been one model. So it takes 50 of those and then smushes them all together and gives you a nice little average. But yeah, looking at this, starting at around Monday morning, you can see some snow starts to move through Missouri, Arkansas, going into Illinois, Indiana. That's going to be at around Monday night when that starts to happen there. And then going into Tuesday morning at around 12 a.m., you can see that we do have some heavier snow starting to pick up over there for Kentucky, going into Ohio, and then into Pennsylvania, maybe even spreading into northern Virginia and northern New Jersey there. And then pushing this all the way through into Tuesday, a little bit later in the morning. You can see this storm's going to really start to get its act together here. Could drop a decent amount of snow, mainly in these regions here. Again, these are smushing all these models together, so it just gives you a range on who could possibly see snow. As we get closer, we'll really be able to dial this number and where exactly the snow is going to fall at the exact time, or not the exact time, but pretty close to the exact time of when the snow is going to fall. But yeah, going into, there is a decent amount of snow that could be falling there, and then pushing this even further, going into Tuesday, later Tuesday into the afternoon, you can see that there's still snow ongoing over there for those regions, and then pushing this even further. That moves out by the time we get into Wednesday morning. Looking at the Euro's view here on what it thinks the snowfall is going to be. Again, these are the blends, so this just throws every possibility together and makes it into an average. We're talking about a wide strip here, potentially 4 to 5 inches expected through this region. These numbers are going to change obviously as we get close. This is just an average, but it gives us a sense of who's going to see snow and where. And you can see that like this band right here is kind of the average of everything of where it's going to fall. So got to keep an eye on that. The GEFS is kind of showing the same thing, a kind of wide strip here with a little bit more snow down here for Ohio going into Indiana and southern Illinois with around 1 to 2 inches possible there. And then getting up over here, we're talking a wide strip of 4 to 5 inches, maybe some isolated pockets of 6 inches with the maxed out region probably over here near Massachusetts of around 8 inches. So you can see still some disagreement between these averages, but definitely is a pretty strong signal here for a decent snowfall for somebody. So as we get closer, we will definitely give you guys more information on that. All right, that's it for me. Thank you for watching. And a quick reminder, if you haven't already, please hit that like and subscribe button. It does help out the channel a lot. And I'll see you guys on the next video. See ya.